Warning: the following video may have language that some viewers may find offensive, and others are already offended. Viewer discretion is advised, but not really. No animals were hurt in the making of this 4-hour feature film.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining me here on the Full Monty, a video podcast that we're shooting right here in St. Thomas, Ontario. And today, well, I got a guest in here that pretty familiar to a lot of you local people. Somebody's been on TV here for 21 years. She's kind of pulling faces over here. Been a long time. She's been hosting a lot of shows, and a show that I was just on recently that I just found out is no longer going to be there. Canceled. Done. There you go. Raspberry. Yeah. Kate Burns Gallagher.
Hey, Tony.
Kate. Wow. You know, I remember you from so many years ago.
I know.
When I was at Rogers, you know, I seen the highlights back in the day. I seen it diminish where we lost our studio. We got to get it back.
Right, that studio space downtown was amazing.
There's so many stories and stuff in this city that, you know, we still need to talk about it.
Right.
We still need to educate people. There's still stories here. There's, you know, we're growing.
Right.
Why are we getting away from this stuff?
Right.
You know, we need it. But thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
This is cool because not long ago I was on your show. That last show that now sadly just got canceled.
Yes.
That's I think I have a little picture here. Oh, that's your profile pic. Oh, there we are next week today.
Yeah.
Right? So all of these I'm going to put up on the screen so everybody can see what we're talking about. But yeah, so let's start with the recent one there. So how long were you doing this?
Yeah, so next week today was about 2.5 years.
Was it?
Yeah. So Tim, our producer from Rogers, reached out and said, we need a new local show. We've got a gap in community events that are happening and telling the story. And I've always done those kind of community events, good feel shows. So he said, figure out a name for a show and we'll get it going. So in homage to last week tonight, we have next week today in St. Thomas Elgin. And it was a great way to tell the story. We started off interviewing all of the politicians on city council. We had Karen and Joe. We started getting on different events and community organizations, and we really told a great story over the course of the 2 years about this incredible city that's growing. Yeah.
You know what I found always very hard though, when I came on your show, one thing I like about doing this podcast is I can actually sit now if I want a half an hour, but even if I want to do an hour and a half, I can do it. Yeah. I can actually interview somebody. A lot of the shows and when you're doing news interviews, it's got to be quick. Like, you know, you've only got 5 minutes. You might have 6. You might only have 3. It's so hard to get a good interview in. You know,
That's true.
It's so hard. You can't be yourself. You can't break it down. You can't have fun with it because you're just constantly thinking, okay, time, what am I going to ask? You know, and if it's something really cool, but you can't really elaborate it because you got other stuff you got to get in there, right?
Right.
So it's tough.
It is. And you've always got your producer there saying 2-minute warning, 1 minute, and giving you the wrap up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, but there's so much more to tell. And you only have 6 minutes.
I don't know how many times on this show that I've said, man, we got to come back because we didn't even touch on a subject, right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't even get close to it. So, yeah, so you're doing this show, and sadly, they come, they go. I know. Yeah. I've been canceled in the past too. I enjoyed it. It was pretty cool. The atrium. Yeah. You were down there doing that show. So when did you guys move in there doing the show?
So that was the beauty of Next Week Today. Was we moved around. We had all different locations. So our last show when you came on was the atrium. Yeah. We when we first started out, we were at the Art Center for quite a few locations. We were at Elgin Harvest in the pizza with the pizza oven as the background. It was beautiful. Yeah. We had, where else have we been? The Queso Station, upstairs. We did an interview
Yes,
up there.
that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I've seen some episodes.
The Railway Museum, of course, with the beautiful LMPS sign in the background.
Cool.
Some amazing shots. Yeah, so we've, and the Princess Ave Playhouse as well.
That's a cool spot, though.
Such a cool spot on the stage with the lights on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
you were the main attraction that night.
No, it's always the guest. This is kind of weird being on the other side.
I know. See, that's why I wanted to bring you, because I thought after Tim had called me and said, hey, we need somebody for your show. And I said, I get her.
Yeah.
I get her. That's why I said, maybe I'll have you come on this one and we'll just flip it. So
right?
I'm going to have Tim come on at some point. I told him I'm going to have Tim. I've got Graydon Lang. I'm going to be switching it on Graydon and you know, and doing the mayor's update, but we're going to flip it right around. And yeah, I've got some pretty cool people coming up. The other one I'm really looking forward to is Jeff Ray. So from
awesome.
Hometown Today, the magazine and the Boomers magazine. I think it's going to be great. I had done a story with Stacy, his wife, and sadly Stacy's passed away now. But we sat at Steamers, I think, one time, and I believe it was probably from all my work at the Legion and the Veterans, and it was probably a story relating to that. I don't actually remember what it was, but Stacy was such a cool cat. She really was, and Jeff is phenomenal. I mean, to do something that used to be very popular in print and that, and then it died off so heavily, but yet he's still hanging in there and he's doing this.
I've had Jeff on the show too, right? And he's just this quiet and assuming person who does such an incredible service to the community.
He does.
Whether it is those magazines, which people all talk about, and they stay around, they stay on the countertops, they stay on the coffee table, right?
Yeah.
But he also does the seniors, right? The Seniors Got Talent and seniors fashion shows, and he's really involved with the seniors community. It's awesome.
He does a lot of other stuff in the Impact Awards. Jeff is actually on the committee for all of that too, and I learned that last year when I got nominated for Circle Excellence Extinguishers for City campaign. So Jeff, that's where I learned. That's another thing that he's involved with, right? So anyway, we got him coming in at another point. I had to reschedule due to the, my family matters and my mom just passing away. So there was a couple episodes that yours actually was one, and we had a bump up, and Jeff and Graydon, and so today is the first day back at it. So it's been tough to reschedule everybody, but just trying to get everybody. My whole plan is, as I wanted to spend January and February just shooting, as many episodes as I can, and then just edit through the whole entire summer, basically, and then in the fall, I'll have all the new episodes come out. And
that's brilliant.
Just a lot easier to have everything pre-recorded. It's all done, and it gives me time if I have to go. But I got a camera issue that it happens.
Yeah.
I got to get people back, so
it
gives me a chance to do that, right? I'm not under the gun to get episodes out. So so Rogers TV 21 years ago.
Yeah, I started when I was 8. Let's establish that baseline.
Okay. 8 years old. That's good. You were the 8-year-old reporter. That was the reporter that you saw with the little the sucker in the mouth. Okay. So what was your first? Okay, so when you first started, you didn't really have a show then. So what were you doing?
Yeah. So it was 2003, and there was like a call for volunteers, and I had just graduated university with a degree in communications and poli-sci, and I was coming back to the community, so I wanted to be involved. I always loved the news, always loved volunteering, so volunteered with Rogers. And in my bracket, there was 5 or 6 of us that were learning the ropes. Joan Peters was there.
Joan Peters.
Yeah, Steve's mom, just an incredibly generous, kind human being. Yeah. And so we learned how to use the cameras, how to use the mixing board. It was still tapes, right? Yeah. Some of it went to CD too, but or DVD at the time, but a lot of tape then too. And so we learned how to use the boards. We were gophers, right? Setting up the cameras and things. And then that was also the time of Susie Bird. She was quite the local celebrity then.
I remember Susie.
Yeah. Right after I started, she ended up getting a job as a weather girl in Calgary, which is pretty cool. And she's done amazing things for herself in Calgary. Yeah. And then a year into it, I was offered an on-camera role with What's Up Elgin. being filmed 3 days a week. So it was a real slog. Filming 3 days a
That
week is
was
a
a
whole
lot.
different, live to air,
Oh,
Or
so you were live to air.
or were we live to tape? Sorry, so we
Okay.
taped and then it
Yeah,
aired like later
But it
that
was
day.
kind of a one-shot Charlie, though, while
One
you were out
shot,
there.
Charlie. Yeah, you got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I did a segment one time at Rogers. It was called Let's Get Dirty.
Oh, I love that.
And I went out to Cannondale's.
Uh-huh.
And, oh, my good, Jim Stinson out
Okay.
there. And Jim, so we were doing planting tips and different things out there. I'd go film. And it was that way. It was just get out there, shoot it. There was no retakes. There was no,
Yeah.
kind of, and it was fun. But you know what? And in the studio, I learned that, but it's kind of a weird thing because live TV is actually easier than doing this because when it's taped, you know that, oh, well, I can restart or whatever. But when you're live, there's pressure on you because you don't want to look like a complete doo-doo.
Yeah.
Freeze up. That happens.
Oh,
How many
gosh,
times you got your guess, you know what you're going to do, and then all of a sudden it's kind of gone.
Yeah.
It happens, but
Yeah.
live TV is sometimes easier.
It
to
is.
do.
Yeah.
You just get out there, you do it, you're done.
Exactly.
You know how many times we did run live. I remember one time Santa Claus Parade, we had everything right in the board straight to London, and it was shown like as we were doing it.
Yeah.
I have pictures of me setting up scaffolding up out there in the winter time and snow blowing, and
That's a wild day.
It was fun, but
Yeah.
so you're doing that. How long did that show run for?
I was on What's Up Elgin as the host for a couple years, and then Mike Vecchio came on and hosted the show for several years afterwards.
Yes.
And from What's Up Elgin, then my day job changed, and I went to the county of Elgin as a job, and then brought Rogers
I
with
remember.
me.
Yes, you went.
Yeah. So when I started
Yeah.
working at the county, we decided that it would be a good kind of mix of my volunteer world and my work world to start a Rogers show that highlighted everything cool in the county. So we had Elgin County Living, and we started that.
That's right. Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that one too. So when I started there, daytime, that was our show. Sarah Francis, Sean Abram,
Oh yeah, Sean Abram.
Marg Goulding was our little Marg in the back that took care of the guests and all that stuff. Marg was so awesome. She did all the council
Yeah.
when we did taping at council meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to go over there and sit in the room too. And I think that time Cliff Barwick was our mayor. And, it was pretty cool sitting in there with all the control board and everything for council. We used to manually run the cameras in there too, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, so it was while I was there, then Mike Vecchio came on. Mike wasn't there at the first, while I was there at the start. Sarah Francis moved away, and then Sean, that show dissolved. We had First Local, that was a new show that we were running at that time.
Yeah.
I remember that. George Clark was in London. He came from CFPL TV. And then there was, Morgan Baker.
Yeah,
Morgan came over. Morgan was a camera guy in London for Channel 10. Then he came over to Rogers. I think he went back now. He's back with CFPL or Channel 10 or whatever you want to call it now. I'm not even sure. Bell Media. So I believe Morgan's over there. But there's been a lot of, Mark Cousins had a show too. What was that one? That was, I don't think we've had, there was Daytime, Ion Elgin, First Local. There was the shows that you did. I think it was Ion Elgin.
I think
it was Ion Elgin, and there was a couple episodes where I was out doing camera work for Mark at that time. That was pretty, a lot of history though, Rogers in town.
Yeah, a lot
right?
of amazing history.
So why did you get into that kind of, I mean, volunteering is awesome. And I did go on the show one time, they were Volunteer Appreciation Week, whatever. And that's what I've done my whole life.
Yeah.
So 40 plus years, I've volunteered in different, from Optimist Club in the Legion and the Winter Carnival Committee in Grand Bend. I was on the Optimist Club in Grand Bend. Hot Air Balloon Festival, I was the chairman for that up in Grand Bend back then. Scouts Canada, it goes on in a holiday fantasy of lights here. I love it. I've always told people, younger and kids, I said when they're growing up in high school, I say volunteer.
Yep.
Like if people want a really good job, go volunteer somewhere first. Like if you have an idea of what you want to do, try and volunteer in that field. And then you'll get a good chance to see, is it something you want to do? But it gives the chance of them to see you, how well you work, how well you communicate with people, how you interact with other people. Do you play nice with others?
Exactly.
You know, you get to see all that. And that's where you make your connections. It's not just handing out your resume and go apply, and they don't know you and they're taking a chance. And you have an interview, but you kind of run on your gut, right? I don't care what you got on your paper. The person doing the interview is still going to run by, instantly you know if you like somebody or not.
Exactly.
You can usually tell. So volunteering is important.
It's so huge. And that's where I've gotten, and to my point in my life, I feel like Rogers is one of the things I volunteer. I'm currently the vice chair of the board for the Algonquin Business Resource Center. I volunteered for, I think it was 12 or 13 years on the North American Railway Hall of Fame, which is the queso station.
Yeah.
I volunteered with the Stars at hockey team for several years.
Oh, have you really?
And I even was like, there was this system called Point Streak a long time ago of recording like the game and uploading it to the internet, and that's what I did. Sat in the box with Scott Kennedy for every Sunday night for years and years,
did you
uploading
really?
his Point Streak. So yeah, being a volunteer gets you out in the community and meeting people,
does.
and it's
But
so
you
rewarding.
know, so many, like even the hospital with a volunteer, the people, emergency room, whatever. But the so many businesses thrive on volunteers. They have to have them. I mean, volunteers are so important. They're like a little powerhouse themselves that keep these businesses going.
Yeah.
So important in the community. And the Stars was actually, I got approached a few years ago to be one of the announcers for the game. I couldn't do it. I said, "There's no way. There's no way I could know all these kids' names. I can't do it." Andrew Buttigieg did it for all that time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so good at it. He just knew them, and some people could do it. No, that's not for me. I couldn't do that. The guy that does the announcing now over the speaker, he's invited me back to co-announce with him and stuff. If I wanted to come back, I just tell him at the door that I'm going up to see him. But it's like the volunteering part is so important, and it's cool. And I always said at Rogers, what I liked about it is it gets you into some pretty cool events.
It does.
So when things are happening in the city and there's, I always said, so the big wigs got this dinner going on, but I get to go because I got the camera and I'm doing stuff. And, when you go to the home show and you're going to different things or events and you bring the camera and you're doing stories, and it's neat because you meet so many cool people.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And that was part of the reason for the next week today, really, because my day job, I'm dealing with a huge region of all of Western Ontario, and I was feeling a little disconnected from community. And when I feel connected, I don't know about most people, but when you feel connected to community, you feel grounded.
Yeah.
So when Tim called, it was a no-brainer for the opportunity to find out, be in the know, right? Know what's happening, be able to connect with new people and people who I've known for decades. It's such a great opportunity to feel that connection to community.
That's exactly how this started, because I thought I wanted to do something that, just like you said, bringing people in the community and just talking about them, and that's what this was all about, was to bring the people in that we all see and know. And I keep using the mayor for an example, but I bring the mayor in, but we don't talk about the mayor. We talk about Joe. Yeah. Where did you grow up and all that stuff, and where'd you go to school, and that's something. This is actually one of the first shows I've ever done. I've never opened that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that would have been my first, where were you born? Where'd you grow up? Right. And then you would say, so where were you born?
I was born at St. Thomas Elgin General Hospital.
Right there.
I'm a lifer.
There you go.
And I grew up in Sparta.
Okay.
300 strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sparta, what a great little community,
It's home. It's the best.
Yeah. And that's where, when you talk about the Stars, I always still connect Sparta with that, because of Eleanor and Peter Robson used to always walk around the track up top.
Yeah, and they had seasons tickets for years and years with Steve and Carol. Yeah.
I used to talk to Peter and Eleanor all the time when I used to go over at one. When I was, because I used to do the camera work for the Stars. When that was another thing Rogers did. We were always there promoting our games, and I've actually hopped on the bus with the Stars and gone to Sarnia or wherever, and Tom Jones that was on the Stars that we lost. Tom, he was such a sweetheart, that guy.
Salt of the earth human.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know why the good ones always go.
I know, right?
I figured I'm so rotten, I'll be 145 and I'll still be here.
Well, that's why we have angels, right?
That's right, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, so Sparta, I love Sparta. I really
It's
do.
awesome.
There's some pretty cool, just the buildings and the whole. I talked to Sally Martin a lot down there, and we have little
Well,
things.
Sally
but-
was my grade 6 teacher.
Was she really?
She
Oh
is
my God,
such
she
an
must have been
icon.
horrible.
Oh, she was
was.
amazing.
I doubt that. She was probably nasty.
Hardly. She was absolutely incredible. And it's too funny because when I was working at the county, how many years later, she actually gave me a card that I had written her in grade 6.
She kept it all those years?
She kept it all of those years. And it
Oh,
was a
wow.
card saying, "Thank you for being my best teacher ever."
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So now I have it again and I've kept
That's
it.
cool.
But
That
yeah.
shows you that meant a lot to her. Eh?
It's exactly right.
I know she's in a big fight right now. She's doing the for the pool at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
that's her
therapy pool.
next. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to see, people are.
Well, we need a pool period.
Yeah.
We need an indoor,
Yeah.
municipally owned facility.
Yeah. You know, the biggest thing, and I just saw recently, just a few days ago, they're pitching now to the Elgin County. They were out at the council about new hospital. Right now, one thing that pops in my head, and I don't know if anybody's even looked at this. I would hope they did. So you have the footprint of the property now. Most of that south end of the hospital, there's so many areas back there closed. I think, I don't know if it's still palliative in the back. It used to be ambulatory.
Right.
Or at one time it was palliative. I know all downstairs is closed. They haven't used it in a long time. But that whole part back, or the back part, see, that's my dyslexia showing up. Instead of building a new place, I keep thinking, why are we not going up? So the whole back area, if you were to if that was all knocked down, you have this amount of footprint.
Right.
We don't expand on the footprint, but now we go up.
Right.
So instead of having 5 floors, why are we not putting 10 floors? We finally have the new apartment building downtown at Walmart. That's 14 stories. That's our biggest one now. Yeah. 12, Grand Central Sunset Towers was 12. I can see eventually we're going to hit 15, 20. There'll be some point in our future, we're going to have 20, 25-story buildings here.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure it's going to happen. We're going to have probably 100,000. Who knows by 2050, or later.
Yeah.
Say 100 years from now, we could be 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Who knows what our population is going to be?
Yeah.
So I keep thinking, instead of trying to find, and then we have another building that's now empty. We've built all this new one, but why are none of these councils, or why are we not looking up higher? Why don't we make the first step and say, hey, you know what? We've got the footprint. We're not going to waste any more land. We're just going to go higher and put more services in. And, there's an opportunity to keep exactly where we have. I think the location for the hospital is great.
It's a great location.
You can come right off Sunset. It's like kind of right there. It's right on Elm. You're on the south end, I know, but
It's a great location.
if ambulance got to scoot out to London, they're
It's easy enough.
yeah. So I don't know.
Great
That's the same
question for
thing,
the engineers, right?
That's it. Same
Yeah.
with the now they're on the news about the old psych hospital, 400 acres, talking 10,000 plus residents.
Yeah.
They said on the news last night.
Yeah.
Population at bigger than Elmer in that 400 acres. So
Yeah.
obviously you're going to have beautiful parks. There's going to be they want stores. Will we have restaurants there? How about high rises? Will we see? Will it be 10, 15 story? That's a great place to put a 15-story.
Yeah. You need the mixed
You're in.
use, right? You need
Yeah.
that full housing continuum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know affordable housing is huge, but I mean, this is something that we are seeing rents come down. I mean, I manage this building, and our rents it's hard for people.
Oh gosh.
I've got empty apartments. I can't rent because people they can't afford it, right? So
Yeah.
what do you do?
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's one of the things I always thought about with counties and stuff, or the hospital. Have they ever thought about going up?
Yeah.
It's an idea that maybe somebody. I had a great talk with Jeff Urick in here, and we talked about from the MRI that came to the hospital. The big one now is the hospice.
Yes.
And talking about hospice. And now, you know what? And I was very interested in the hospice until now I'm super interested, because after I just watched what happened with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She went into palliative, and they couldn't get her into hospice up there because they only have very minimal beds. There's only like 5 or 6 beds.
Right.
Full waiting list, basically, to get in there.
Yeah.
Watched really the horror. I said to Al Houston when he came in and we did our show, palliative care is not care.
No.
Palliative care is cruel.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to somebody, and I understand why the process is, but I said to Al, he's also joining the hospice board or helping them, and I said, you know what, I really want to get on that.
Yeah.
I actually do, now that I've been through it and seen how important this really is for families.
It's incredibly
I
important.
want to get on that.
Yeah.
I want to get on it and help fundraise or whatever we can do. So
yeah, and it's about time our community had a hospice. I mean,
Oh,
Mary
yeah.
Lou Stanley, a family friend, has been advocating for a hospice for 25, 30 years. So
Yep.
finally we have this beautiful hospice in
Yep.
a beautiful location that's going to
Yeah,
be
it
able
is
to
nice.
serve so many families.
I never really, because I never needed it, right? So I didn't think anything of it.
Exactly. It's
And
one of
for a
those
long time, I
things you
kept
don't
thinking,
think about it
no,
until you need
I kept
it.
thinking, well, what is hospice? Like,
Right.
What is it?
Yeah.
Then, of course, I got to learn a little bit more of it. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
heard St. Thomas getting one, and I've heard all the other communities that were getting them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking, all right, what's the big deal? But now that I've been through it, oh yeah, I can see we so need it.
It's
And
really
more than what we have. Like, even for us here, I'm not sure, what is it, 10 beds, 12 beds, St. Thomas? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's still not enough.
No.
Man, we need something that has like 25 or 30 beds,
Yeah.
you know, to give people that dignity and the families and what they offer. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So anyway, that's probably my next adventure. I'm going to be
Great.
contacting Jeff and them, and I want to get on there and
That's
see
great.
if we can help out. So also, we're going to talk about, somebody told me a while ago, and something about a chicken that was diapered.
Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, Elgin County
What
Living.
happened with that? You put a diaper on a chicken.
Yeah, so Elgin County Living was the show that we did when I was at the county.
Okay.
And it was with James Elsden, who was our producer,
Yeah.
and we were on the road every Friday in the summer. It was a great show. It was really fun. We interviewed, but then Tim came along after James left, and we were a little bit more interactive. So Elgin County Living went from being a microphone back and forth to being a little bit more hands-on. So
Okay.
I at Horseshoe Ranch, I got on the horse and rode the horse instead of just having the horse in the background. And then at a therapy farm in West Elgin, I learned how to diaper a therapy chicken, because it was a chicken that was a therapy.
A therapy chicken.
So like there's therapy dogs, therapy cats. This was a therapy chicken. And I put a diaper on a therapy chicken, because if you're taking your chicken around with you, it needs to
Yeah.
have a diaper on it. So I got to put a diaper on a therapy
Oh my
chicken.
gosh.
It was incredible. It was amazing.
That is funny.
Yeah, Julie and her team out there are just incredible. I actually went back years after, and they had goat yoga, and the goats are all around you, and oh, it was so
You
cool.
know, you
But
just said-
you diaper a good chicken.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. You just reminded me of one that I forgot. Was you talked about the horses? Was that Horseshoe J Dude Ranch? Is that where you went?
Yeah.
Okay, because they did stuff for us too way back, and Sarah, Francis, and Sean Abram, we went out there and they were on horses, and I had to ride. And I used to ride horses. We had horses as I grew up, but as a camera guy for Rogers, I'm actually on a full-grown horse with
the
the camera.
camera?
I had the battery belt on, and I had to film these guys. And then I think it was Sean's horse took off.
Oh no.
And he was hanging on. Yeah, that was all shown on TV and everything. The whole things that
Amazing.
we did out there. Yeah, there was some
Yeah.
history out there with Horseshoe
J. Dude Ranch. Yeah.
And I think they still go today, do they not? They had the
Yeah.
kids camps and all
Yeah.
that. They're a pretty cool place.
Yeah, they've got a great barn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a those big cameras back in that day too. The
They
big
were
shoulder.
so big and
they
so
were.
heavy.
Yeah. No, try
Yeah.
that on a horse, and you're
Right?
and you're galloping.
And those cameras didn't necessarily have stabilization in them.
No, they didn't have those ones. Not back then. No. So you were trying to not have the camera going like. Yeah, that was quite a thing. Diapering a chicken. I never
Yes,
had. I never
yeah,
had that.
that
So
was-
would that be one of your funniest?
Memories?
Memories?
I definitely. One of my most unique experiences.
Yeah.
If people say, what's something that, you can remember,
Okay.
diapering a chicken would definitely
That would be up
in
there.
the top.
That'd be up
yeah.
there. Now, let's flip it though.
Okay.
What would be one of the saddest stories that maybe you've encountered or been to? Yeah.
So
What sticks out?
I guess with our show, we're a feel-good show. All
Yeah.
3 of the shows I've done, What's Up Elgin, Next Week Today, and Elgin County Living, it was all telling good stories.
Okay.
But with What's Up Elgin, we did a Remembrance Day service.
Okay.
And we did a episode that was really great, and we had a former veteran come on
Oh, cool.
and talk about his story. And
Do you remember his name?
he was the neighbor of friends of mine, so he lived across the street from my
So it
friends
would have been.
on
I'm trying to think of some of them that back in that time. So we had Herb Welch, Don Monteith.
No, he's a
was-
young guy.
He was a young guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, his name is not going to come to me right now.
Okay.
But he came on the show and told his story, and
Okay.
it was so.
Impactful. Eh?
Yeah, it really was.
That's what I grew up in, and my years with the Legion's been 35 now, I guess. So I'm the past first, second vice president, past puppy chairman, been on the zone, and I do it all for them.
Yeah.
I've said over and over and over again, and I've had some people that have fought me on this, but I said if I was running this country, there would not be one veteran that ever came home that had to worry about where they're living or what their meds are.
No, there shouldn't be.
There should not be.
They're
No.
giving everything.
I've
for
had
us.
people say to me, well, we give them enough. Like, we have a lot of services for them. I said, we have nowhere near what they should.
No.
Yeah, we have better than some of the states that some of the services that we do offer, but there should never be a homeless vet.
No, if they're putting their life on the
You know,
line for this country,
no.
then no.
And my son went to join. He wanted to join, and I told him, I'm an ordinary member of the Legion. I used to be a cadet trainer. And I said, if you join, great, but don't ever come out. Stay in it. That's your career until you retire.
Yeah.
Because I said, when you do leave and come out, they don't care about you.
Yeah.
They don't care. So don't do it. So that's why our vets are not just First World War and Second World War. Now we have the Korean vets that are passing away. They're the 80, 90-year-olds now. It's
Yeah.
Korea. We had the Vietnam vets, and then, but people think of veterans as the big wars. No, we've had the Afghanistan and Iraq and Desert Storm. I had friends that went to Desert Storm.
Yeah.
And I lost a couple that were over there that came back and they suicide.
Yeah.
So soldier assisted or soldier suicides now are they're pretty bad. So yeah, I could see where that would be kind of listening to the stories.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really
They have a lot
impactful.
of demons.
They
some of them,
do,
what they
yeah.
saw, and
Yeah.
what they had to deal with. Now there was also some good times,
Yeah.
which we tried to focus a lot on that too with some of
Yeah.
the vets, and let's
Yeah.
talk about some of the fun stuff that happened,
Right.
and they had some stuff. But
Yeah. My husband's former British Navy. He served in the British Navy for 10 years.
Wow.
So his favorite memory is about moose milk and
Moose
how
milk.
Canadians have moose milk. And so every country has their own drink, and Canadians have moose milk. So
wow.
yeah, and he has fond memories of going out with the Canadians in
Oh, that's
port
cool.
and
Well,
drinking moose milk.
moose milk and farming polar bears.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. So what would be one of your best interviews?
There's so many, so
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
say best, but some fascinating ones. Interviewing Steve Wookie was really cool because he was
Steve Wookie. Okay, yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
Steve. So Steve's on council and a former teacher.
Yeah,
right?
so and he was one of my teachers. And
Oh, I'll have to get him on.
yeah, he was really impactful in my life. So it was
Okay,
really
Steve.
cool.
Steve, I'll call you. Okay, you tell us
Yeah.
what Kate was like.
Yeah.
She was probably, I bet you got stories, Steve.
But it was cool to be able to interview him
Yeah.
because I took all of the courses I could in high school when he was a teacher. If he taught them, I took them, including economics. which I was not good at.
You sound like a little girl had the crush on the teacher.
No, it was just, he was so good.
You're got to spill it, dude. Yeah.
He was just such a great teacher.
Yeah,
And he
that's cool.
inspired my love for politics. And that's why
I actually
today.
worked with Steve a little bit at Gearlinks when Steve was working over at Gearlinks Home Hardware, and I was out in the lumberyard and stuff, and I used to see Steve there.
Yeah.
Then he left because he went back to council. But
yeah.
So I thought you were going to talk about the other Steve.
Well, there's also Steve Peters, who
Who's that?
I don't know, this guy who used to bag
kinda heard about him,
groceries.
Yes,
right?
he did. He was a bag
yeah,
boy.
Yeah.
Bag boy.
Yeah. Humble beginnings.
Yeah. And I think it wasn't. It was Jeff Kohler that worked with Peters, that Jeff, I do believe, said that Jeff had never made a mistake bagging anything. And it was, if any mistakes, it was Steve. And
I love that.
yeah. I think it was a fight between them two guys, between Kohler and Peters.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But Steve's a great guy, though.
Steve's great.
Very knowledgeable, with local historian.
Right. And I've known him too since I was like in my teen years, looking up to him. And so it's always great to have him.
Little girl crush? Steve?
No, you can look up to these people
Steve,
for inspiration.
We'll get you on here too one day, there, Mr. Peters.
Yeah. So no, and then I mean, having Rose and Tara, it's so sad to see that Tara's.
I know. I was so surprised about that. Yeah. So I'm sure she's got some stuff that pretty major she's working on.
Yeah.
I've known Tara a long time too, and
she's got lots in the pipes.
Oh, sure she does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's going to do well. But that was just a shock to see.
Yeah.
Even I did talk to Rose, because Rose and I have been friends for a lot of years, and her last few attempts at council, I was helping Rose. I was doing her campaign stuff, and we did videos. And last year, or the last run, we did a lot of walking Lake Margaret. She took one side, I took the other, and I pounded the doors with Rose. And
nice.
And Rose said, I was just so shocked when at council when Tara, handed that in. So no, good for Tara. I mean, obviously she's got some stuff, she wants to do. So that's pretty cool. But one day I've thought about it. I had a few attempts that I was ready to run myself and take a stab at it, but time's not right yet. So
exactly.
I'm busy with this place, and I got enough on the go.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing the podcasts and with the Legion and other things. So we're staying that way. But
another great interview too, I would say, would be Karen Vecchio.
I heard she's awful.
Oh,
to interview. Jeff Urick said she's terrible.
She's amazing.
No, I don't believe that. Mike is amazing. Karen, she's just nasty. That's what Jeff said. Yeah.
She was fabulous. And I mean, an icon, an absolute community icon, right? She's represented her community for over 20 years.
She's got two things. She's got such a great heart. Sparta girl, right?
Exactly.
Sparta girl.
Yeah.
But she was taught by one of the best too. I mean, Joe was phenomenal with doing things for the community. He was always, if you needed something, he's always here for you. Karen, working all those years with him, she had a great mentor. Which then when she took over, and I mean, Mike has been a fantastic support for her too. There was Karen is somebody, and I still have not got Karen on the show yet. I've told her a few times I want her to get on here, and I don't know if she's fighting me. I don't know, Karen, you're another one that I'm going to go after. But
there you go.
Yeah, Jeff Urick said that she'd be a great chat, and I'd like to get in there.
Yeah.
I could see Karen for you. It would have been. Yeah, you're lucky you got her on your show.
I did. Yeah.
That's not fun.
The benefits of getting to work. Well, we have a great working relationship too. So.
Yeah, you do, and plus your connections back home. So I wanted to see. Let's just see. This is all of my Williams stuff that I had when we did our pre-test. Okay, so let's show the people. So there's you and Steve.
There's me and Steve.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what? So where's this? That looks like an art center.
Yeah. So the cool thing about Next Week Today was we filmed in all different locations across the community. So we started off at the Public Arts Center, and the first couple of shows we did at the Public Arts Center, and then we took it on the road. So we were at the Railway Museum. We went to the Princess Ave Playhouse. We even filmed at Elegant Harvest with the big pizza oven in the back. But that one there.
So what would you guys have been talking about? in this
Steve and
one?
I?
Yeah.
We talked, so that was right after the municipal elections in 2024 when he was
Okay.
back on council. So just asking about his goals for this term and
Okay.
yeah, what he was hoping to accomplish.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve's one that I got to get on there now. This one. All right. I don't know if you got a little glimpse of this we're going through, but I kind of, I don't know, spoofed your Facebook.
Oh,
I went on
okay.
there, so. All right, here we go.
Oh.
What is that?
That is my son Louie, and we're at the downtown Prowl.
Okay.
Sorry, at the what was the downtown Howl where we did all the trick or treating downtown.
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah. That's what that.
So,
Okay.
and if anybody knows Mario, he was a
Okay.
Sniffet, a character from
Okay.
Mario. But yeah, so
That's what. Okay.
yeah.
I thought this reminded me a lot of times when we used to have to be in the studio at Rogers after Sean Abram had the chili lunches. That was us on the cameras.
Have you met my husband?
That's a God-given gift. That's a talent. Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. There's an amazing lady right there.
The Rose.
Rose.
Yes.
Do you know, I've said there are certain people that you run across in your life, and there's very few of them, but there's those that are so dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that will give their life volunteering
Yeah.
for certain things. And you don't meet many people, but Rose and her
No.
husband Dan, but Rose is one of them. I mean, from United Way, the Legion, all the different, the senior center, everything that she's done. Her dream was to always be on council. And
let's not forget, being a counselor is volunteering.
It is.
Being
we're pretty much, yeah.
There's
I mean,
a stipend,
yeah.
but it's not any
No.
way to make a living.
No, you don't. You ain't getting rich by
being a counselor.
No. But with Rose, there are just very few people that I have come across personally with a heart that will give so much.
She's completely genuine.
The amount of money that she dishes out on her own, even when we're doing stuff at the Legion, and I said to her, I said, no, Rose, what are you doing? Stop. Don't do that. And she's like, no, we want to do this. And
Yeah.
amazing. Just an amazing person. So many social services or whatever. I mean, they are so lucky when they come across people like this.
Exactly.
They are out there. I don't think they get the recognition that they should get, right?
Yeah.
So that was Rose. But look at that picture.
Oh, there's a younger me.
Would that have been around the start of Rogers?
That would have been that.
I mean, you look pretty darn good for 8.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks. That would have been Elgin County Living, so halfway through.
About halfway through.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now this is the Kate I remember.
Yeah.
Like kind of, I do. I
Yeah.
remember the. Well, we all get older, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't think I had hair back then. I think I probably got more hair now than I had back then because I used to
Right.
shave it for years. So
Right.
all falling out, but yeah. So
Yeah.
that is so cool.
Yeah.
That is just so cool. So what would you like to do from now? You know, Tim's probably coming back at some point.
Well, I hope he does one
Yeah?
day that they need
You wanna
me.
keep going?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think there's just so many amazing stories to tell in our community.
There is.
And like you said, the community's growing. There's such a need. And your podcast is awesome. The work that Graydon does is incredible, and Jeff. And there's so many stories to tell. And there's always a place for that community news, right? Of telling of the events. Things that are happening and going on.
I talked to Mike about this too, and he knows kind of what I mean, I want to do this for a little while, and then I want to kind of get out of this one, but I want to take it back on the road.
Yeah.
I do. So maybe between Mike and yourself, maybe we can all hook up and then do where we can go to remote locations. I've got the cameras, and we just need to. What I'd like to do again, and when I had my own production company, was I had some of the students from Fanshawe that were taking the journalism.
Yeah.
And I'd say, come on down and work with me, and I'll teach you some, things like what is B-roll and editing and how to put shoots together. And a lot of my shoots are all done prior. I already know in my head, but I put a lot down on paperwork. So I know as I progress them in blocks, so I know how it's all going to be. So when I do the edit, I mean, you can film everything on a phone, which takes great. It's all in your edit. I always tell people that I can make you or break you.
Yeah.
Now, I never want to make you look bad because I don't want to be sued.
Exactly. Right.
But media has a lot of power.
Oh, it does.
And I can make a viewer. That's why when I used to do what was it called, St. Thomas County, St. Thomas Elgin County Online, and I went out and did news interviews with people and stories, and I used to put everything was raw, it wasn't edited. I just start finish. I didn't chop out things to make a certain story swing a certain way, because you can do that.
Yeah.
I can make it, change a story. I can make the viewer want to go. I used to just always put it out, and I was always thanked for that by other people because I gave you the opportunity. Well, you make up your mind.
Yeah.
Here it is. This is what happened. I'm not going to tell you either way if it was good or bad, whatever. You just decide, you know. And I left it that way. So yeah, maybe we can get something in the future.
That'd be cool.
That'd be kind of
really
neat.
fun.
And then we'll still stay on Rogers and we'll go and have some fun. And
a little bit of a collaboration.
I would kind of like to go stay behind.
There you go.
Behind the cameras and do the shoots and go the places and do the edit. I don't mind doing that. This is kind of I just do this because it's fun.
Yeah.
I want to introduce people, bring them in the community, so people that know you, they've seen you on TV all those years, but who is she?
Right,
Who
right.
is she?
That's
So
cool.
That's one question I'm going to leave.
Okay.
So growing up, were you like a real rebel? Like, did you get into some crap?
No, not till I was 15.
Oh, 15.
It took me a while to get
did
there.
it?
Yeah. And then, I don't think I was that bad of a rebel. My mom probably thinks I was.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was.
And now, did you hang out with Karen back then?
Karen's a little bit older than me.
Okay.
So,
All right.
in high school, my best friend, her name is Jen Smrowski. We're still friends to this day.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
She still lives here in town.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Where was high school?
Central.
Central.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you were one of those kids.
I was.
Yeah.
I was a mighty titan. And so was my sister and brother after me. They were smart. They knew what to do.
I think that's where, was it Mike? Didn't Karen go to Central?
No, they both went to Parkside.
They both
sure.
went to Parkside?
Yeah.
I thought one went to the other one.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I don't know. I've had so many people on. I'm trying to remember who
Yeah.
was at what school. But, okay. No, that's cool. So they went Parkside.
Yeah.
Okay. Always see, when I grew up in Stratford, we had Northwestern where I went, and then there was Central also downtown.
Right.
But all the brain kids went to Central, and
right.
all the poopy kids, we went to Northwestern. Right? So that's what they always said. So it was always a fight between, no different, St. Thomas was the same thing.
No.
Voden, Central.
Right.
Yeah.
Parkside.
Parkside, yeah. So you had the extra high school we didn't have.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's always been, you went to that school. Yeah. So, okay, so growing up, 15, turned into a little bit of a nightmare then, maybe for your mom.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just
Okay.
a little bit.
All right. So, hey, we got Al Houston to even break down and tell us what he was. And he was a kid, so it was a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, thanks, Kate.
Thanks,
I
Tony.
really appreciate you coming in. So,
Yeah,
see, we
it's
didn't
fun.
have to do a 5-minute segment or 6, right?
No, it's kind of
Got
more
to-
fun. Yeah.
I got to really break it down. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, Kate Burns Gallagher. I knew you when it was just Kate Burns.
I know. Katie Burns.
That's-
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I knew when I started seeing your name pop back up after I got out of Rogers and a lot of stuff for a
Yeah.
while, right? But then I seen this Kate Burns Gallagher, and I thought, is that the same person? 'Cause
The one.
actually, I remember after St. Thomas closed our studio, I actually went to Western Fair for a while.
I was
It
there
doing
too.
Yes, and we were doing the horse
Yes.
races and
Yeah.
stuff. And there was another Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Megan, I can't think of Megan's last name, and she started doing all the graphics. She worked in the control room there. I got her that. I brought her over, actually. Yes.
I can see her, yeah.
Yes, and she probably still on my Facebook. I don't know. I'd have to go see. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but yeah, Megan, I brought her over, and then she stayed there for a long time. I still have somewhere in one of my drawers upstairs the ID tag for Western Fair and
I
everything.
love that.
Yeah, I still got all that stuff. I used to sit in
the
that
fair was
little
fun.
booth down in the freeze in that little box in there. It was so cold.
Ugh,
Yeah, Western Fair.
good times.
That was pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks again. It was
Thanks,
so
Tony.
much fun. So
Yeah.
there you go. Kate Burns Gallagher, all you people that have known her for all the years volunteering. It's great. Thanks for doing that.
Thanks. Yeah.
The love for a community never dies. Really,
No, it
does
doesn't.
I know.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's
cool.
true.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. What an exciting day. It's been a pretty cool day. Double taping today. Now I got to go spend some money in town. It's time to go get some groceries. My other half wants to go to the mall.
Happy
Here
shopping.
we go. Stay tuned. We'll see who's coming up. Thanks for tuning in, The Full Monty, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye. We're done.
Perfect.